Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good lunch, a great breakout session. I'm really excited about this next segment when we are going to hear from about 20 humane educators from around the globe. And to introduce this segment, I'm very excited to introduce the Institute for Humane Education's Executive Director, Sarah Speare. I'm not done yet, though. I have to tell you about Sarah. Sarah is an entrepreneur. She's an artist. She's a nonprofit executive. And she also happens to be probably the most upbeat, patient, optimistic person I know, which is so soothing and wonderful for me personally, who works with her every day. It is such a great pleasure to work with this wonderful and beautiful woman, and more importantly, it is such a great boon to have her as the Executive Director of the Institute for Humane Education. Please welcome Sarah Speare.
Okay. Are you all ready for this grand experiment? I would say fasten your seatbelts and, hang on to your hats. The lightning talks are here. So get ready for a trip kind of around the world into classrooms, entire schools, and innovative programs as we move from theory into practice and see where and how humane education is making a difference. So we hope that it will provide you with ideas, inspiration, and connections. And many of the presenters are going to be available afterwards and looking forward to meeting and connecting with all of you. So it's going to be very lively, and we've never done this before, so here's how we hope it's going to work. There are going to be 14 presenters, each with 4 minutes to inspire you, and I'm going to give them a 3-minute warning so that we're going to try and keep this on track, and then with a little Tibetan bowl, so it'll be very soothing. They're going to be so calm. And then as soon as they're finished, the next person's slide will come up with their name. They're not going to all have introductions. You have your own program, and you'll see their name and their project title up here, hopefully. And so they'll be coming one after the other, so that's the lightning bolts that you'll be getting. So the first person up is Wendy Brawer from Green Map Systems. Enjoy.
Okay, I am your guinea pig, and oh, good. Here come my slides, I hope. Can you hear me? Great. Do I have to start them? It's on? No, okay. Okay, so one of the exciting things about my talk is I thought it was 5 minutes, so here we go. Anyhow, I'm talking to you today about green maps, and a green map is a locally made map about sustainability, about nature, culture, green living resources. They're all made all over the world. They look different because different kinds of people are making them. We provide different kinds of tools, including digital, hand drawing, and multimedia stuff. And the people who are making them include city agencies, grassroots groups, youth, and all kinds of businesses and tourism. And everybody has their own goals and own process. We share a lot of information back and forth between them. Youth are especially using them in summer programs, after school, in the classroom, and for service learning They're also taking part in all ages projects. So what's on the maps? Well, all kinds of things you'd expect, like farmers markets and bike sites, but also where can you learn green, where's nature in your community, and it helps people connect locally as well as bring good ideas home when they're traveling. The thing that connects all the maps is a universal symbol set that's co-designed by everybody involved in Green Map System. By the way, we've been around since 1995. We're now in 875 places in 65 countries. So this iconography truly is globally recognized. It's available as a font, so it works with any computer program, or as images, or as a GIS script. So it fits into all kinds of learning activities for technology and communication. The maps, as I mentioned, have a lot of different character to them. We've recently deposited 500 editions at the New York Public Library's map room, where they'll be there always for people to explore and enjoy. Our digital tools include a Google Map-based mapping platform. We have an iPhone app with which you can collect information. We have a new responsive website. These maps can be embedded and shared in lots of different ways, including in Facebook. And by the way, every one of the open maps, let me go back a second, is open to images and videos made by anybody. So year after year, different groups of students could come back and learn about and share their findings about different sites right on that little profile about it. There's also all kinds of, I want to say, multimedia and creative expressions, from dance to video to murals, being made to really move local people. So that's one of the big jobs, is figuring out how do we reach our target audience. So some of the kids' images they can range from a place like Zurich, where it was all about mapping the campus, to Thailand, where it was looking at ways we can address climate change in our communities. In Sweden and, Denmark, there's a whole group of schools. It's part of their Education for Sustainable Development project. In Baltimore, it's part of STEM. In New York City here, it's been part of giving kids a voice in the future of their community, as things are changing so quickly here and in so many places around the world. Brooklyn's Demand Man inspired kids in Wales to come up with their Demand Dragon. So lots of good ideas that kids are generating are moving around the world. Here's some examples from China, where we've worked with Roots and Shoots and WWF, mapping biodiversity in nature, mangroves especially, freshwater. Here's an example where they've made the map out of moss, and I love this map, and it's just a beautiful piece. So kids are really creative and bring lots of good things in. We had Sean come to one of our workshops a couple summers ago. You don't have to be high-tech and you don't have to be low-tech. You can be anywhere in between, as you can see from these examples from Uganda and Kyoto. And kids can take on very tough issues that adults have trouble addressing. Am I off the stage? Is that what that means? You can also work across the board, get lots of kids to participate in one big map. We have lots of tools and lots of awards. And I invite you to join us come and join us, greenmap.org/join. Bring this project home, take our modules, and work with your kids. Thank you.
Should I start? Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pei. I'm here to share with you about our work in China, particularly on human education. Since English is my second language, so to speak in 4 minutes is an extra challenge for me, so please do bear with me. Why China needs a human education, I'm sure everybody here will not argue with me and will understand its urgent need. I'm just going to use the 3 slides here to illustrate the problem we are facing in the country. So this is a typical example. The trees are cut down and to grow the crops. The level of the animal abuse probably are not something you have experienced in this part of the world. And picture on the left shows here is dogs are waited to be brought from the market and stored for their meat. And picture on the right here, on the right here shows the 2 dogs were hanged, used as a protest tool by angry people over their building disputes. And we also found in our recent in the years of study is that there's more and more use have been carried out the animal abuse case in China. Since China opened to the world in late 1970s, and the growth of economy in the country, China has developed a very special social problem in the country. And the pictures here, you might have seen is a typical meat production plant from the factory farming. And the picture on the left here shows the children problems in the country because their parents are working in the big cities and are left behind in the rural China and looked after by their parents. After working in China extensively for the last 14 years to advocate for animals, I have come to the realization that we need to build a foundation in the country beside all other campaigning works. So we started the Caring for Life Humane Education, and I can tell you, even the term humane education is very new and unknown in the country, and it still could be very sensitive. And the feature of this project is including is a course, it's now random school talks, it contains 12 learning sections, and we teach same children over 1 academic year. We do our homework first. We study the country's social and political context first, and we study the education system, and we also try to understand the social problems in the country. Then we drew a 3-year project plan. We started our pilot project in September 2012. Our course were taught in 2 primary schools, 3 kindergartens of 2 cities, and we reached over 500 students aged 5 to 8. We did not enter the school because of sympathetic teachers. We approached the school authority directly, and we signed an MOU with them. Although we borrow a lot of human education experience from the West, but we make sure that our projects and our material are totally localized and is run and delivered by our Chinese staff and human educators. Kiki is an 8-year-old girl, helped us to make this project possible. And she used her own initiative to help us, and her school was the first school to welcome our project. We also developed the teaching pack, which contains 10-unit lesson plans. Last year, we trained over 60 human educators in 2 cities, and this year we have trained over 200 human educators in 5 cities. And these learning methods, I have seen many slides today, and it seems very common in this part of the world, and I can guarantee they are relatively new and relatively challenged when you try to push this learning method. We also went to the rural China in June this year to collaborate with the Education Foundation. And this picture on the left shows we have volunteer helpers to copy the 40,000 materials and to reach 1,000 children in 3 rural provinces of China. And here I'm going to show you is from September 2013, our Caring for Life Human Education will be taught in 12 schools, and 12 primary school and 15 kindergartens in 5 cities. In many schools, the course will be taught by the school teachers as a part of school curriculum. This is a pioneer project, and I'm so thrilled with all the positive developments so far, because I can guarantee it has been a very, very challenging journey for us. But I truly believe this is a pioneer work, and we are using our action to write the history of human education in China. And I want to say thank you so much for the Xiamen Education Bureau. They were the first city, the Education Bureau, to agree to collaborate with us to train the 45 teachers in this year. And in 10 schools, they will be started to teach this lesson, and we will reach over 2,000 students in this city on its own. And the Tangguan Memorial School, this is the first school welcome our project, our local partner in each city, and wonderful volunteer to make the project possible so far. So come to grab me if you want to know more about this project. Thank you.
is great. Hi, I'm grateful for being asked to speak today. I'm a science educator of 18 years, and I'm going to share with you how I incorporate humane education into my lessons. When looking at this image, we see a beam of light. When a prism is placed in the light's path, something interesting happens. Every time students explore prisms, they are in wonder, and wonder brings questions, and questions can bring wisdom, and with that wisdom can bring change. When the light is reflected, it has many colors. When looking at my curricula, and I encourage you to look at your curricula, sit quietly, openly, explore it. See where humane education can be incorporated, keeping in mind compassion, kindness, respect, and responsibility. The mouse versus the zucchini. In our school, we have incorporated a program called the Mind Up, and during this time, we were focusing on perspective. Weil shared this video, thank you, and her husband Edwin filmed it, and I thought it was just perfect for what I wanted to look at. Escape. Oh, this is awesome. Alrighty. That's it. Awesome, thank you. I used that video, which is so awesome, as a jumping off point to discuss and explore compassion towards species of animals that some would consider a nuisance or a pest. We also did reflect about the individual who filmed it and their values and what they thought about living creatures. The video, the lesson, and so much other resources is on the IHE's website, so please use it. This year, I'm teaching a program called Engineering by Design. It's for kindergarten through 5th grade. It's a science-based program with a solutionary approach, so I was all on board when I heard about that. There are many places I see I can incorporate humane education. The theme for the 4th grade is the power of solar. And I got really inspired by the Green Bronx Machine project to create green walls and such. So I was like, I wanted to incorporate that, and this year we're going to have some green walls, green space. Our school's really into the arts, so I really want to make a wall of arts and greens, and then also talk about benefits of green space, the loss of green space, and integrate that into humane education, so we will be having fun with that. Every drop counts. This is the theme for 3rd grade, and part of my goal for 3rd grade is really look at it as a human rights issue. And this is another piece of literature. I love bringing literature into the classroom called One Well, and that we're all part of this one well, and that is very important. 2nd grade is Our Environment, Our Health. And there was this really resorting activity I did with the kids called NIMBY. And again, I love bringing literature into the classroom. And this book is called Where in the World is Away by Michael Franti, if you know who that is. And and we were discussing, like, really, where is a way? And it brought up a really great discussion, and I'll continue that through our year. I create my own library of humane books. There's so many books out there. I really encourage you to create your own. And again, I've been hearing this all day, that it goes seamlessly through all the different academic areas. And there's a lot of resources online. There's nothing on there. We just started school, but Solutions in Society News, I was thinking of a bulletin board in my room, and the kids and myself and the librarian already put up articles about what's happening in society that is solutionary based, that's helping people, helping animals, helping the environment. So we're doing that this year. Lenses, I actually use real hand lenses, and I think lenses are a really important, great tool to have in the classroom, because you could take a look at and encourage compassion, respect towards living organisms, and explore the issues to instill responsibility and develop solutions. So basically what I do is I just keep planting seeds wherever I can in my school, and they're starting to grow. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Everyone has an educational journey, and we all are connected through learning. Our journey today begins in the Igbo land of Nigeria, which is located in West Africa. We meet Victoria. Victoria immigrates from Nigeria to the United States in pursuit of education. She started school but experienced a disconnect and a dissonance between what she was learning in school and who she was as a person. I am Victoria. This dissonance and disconnect over the years ignited my passion to become an educator and explore a variety of topics in education. Currently, as a faculty at Valparaiso University's Department of Education and the program director for Humane Education. The conference today, Educating for a Just, Peaceful, and Sustainable Future, is a call to action for all educators to become inspired using education to meet the many challenges of our time. However, as John Holt cautions, we must look beyond the question of reforming schools and at the larger question of schools and schooling itself. This necessitates conceptual change, beginning with rethinking schools and schooling, and asking the very question, is schooling for the 21st century and beyond? First, we need tools. In my research, I found that combining constructivism, a leading conceptual framework in teacher preparation, to 3 alternative education models, free schooling, deschooling, and unschooling, as some would say are very radical approaches to education, provides a unique lens by which to examine education at its core. To produce a blueprint for change. This blueprint yields an organic framework for learning, restructured roles, transformative change with oneself, community, and the world. With this, we take a bold step forward. And we arrive at the core, the very essence of education, where we're able to create learning experiences that produce the change we want to see. I look forward to continuing our journey as passionate educators, charting a better world and preparing individuals who are transformed to lead productive and impactful lives. I am Victoria Oliakwe Chiatula. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie Klempner and I am a co-founder of the Pollination Project. About a year ago, my brother-in-law came to me and said, I've accumulated this wealth of money and I want to give away $1,000 a day. Do you want to do it with me? And I said, heck yeah. So what we did was we started talking about what we wanted to do with this money. And what we knew, the truth in us was that we wanted to use it to empower the world to become a more socially just, a more environmentally sustainable, a more compassionate place for all beings. And so we came up with 2 big ideas. Those big ideas first were that we wanted to fund individuals and not fund organizations. We believe that everybody's got a superhero inside of them, and I know for a fact that everyone in this room is a superhero. And we believe to make radical transformation and change in the world, it requires individual people going out into their communities, into their schools, and taking action and making change. And then the second big idea that we had was what we coined pollination philanthropy. Basically, this idea was, rather than give somebody $100,000 to go into their school and take on a big project from A to Z, instead, we want to fund you from A to B. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and what we kind of learned is just by giving somebody that little bit of money, it takes an idea in their head and makes it action in the world. And so we give away every single day $1,000 seed grants. To date, this year, we funded 264 grantees, and they are our superheroes. And of them, many are humane educators. And one humane education person, for example, is named Ed Hashi from Florida. And he is a teacher who came to us because he wanted to create a working research laboratory in his classroom, and he wanted funding so that he could have material so that the students could build scale models of renewable energy solutions. We also have 2 speakers that are coming up that are wonderful grantees. One is Rosanna Ng, and she is a humane educator from Hong Kong, and we gave her a grant so that she could take curriculum that was written in English and use it and translate it into Chinese. And then we also have David Sidwell, who you're going to hear about his amazing work with Solutionary Congress, and we helped fund his pilot project. What I hope is that everybody here who's filled with so much inspiration will go home today and not let that fade away. Instead, write down your ideas to make change, and then come to our website and apply for a grant with us. For 2 more days, if you're really inspired, we have a special partnership with the IHE where we are funding 20 humane educators to not only get a grant, but also to get funding for them to participate in the IHE's online training course. So please go to the website and apply. We have postcards in the back also. So just to close, I want to post some questions to you, which is this. If you were given $1,000 to make a difference in the world, what would you do with that money? What is your passion? For me, when I talk about the Pollination Project is when my superhero comes out. What lives inside of your heart that you can do to make the world a better place? Because I have money and I'm here to give it to you. So, thank you. I believe in all of you. You guys are my superheroes. Be the change you want to see in the world. Thank you.
Well, we're taking a tiny bit of a break while the computer does a meditation session. But I do want to mention that the last 4 presentations are actually going to be video presentations. Several of them are one is from Brazil, one is from Australia, and the other 2 are so compelling as standalone videos that we asked them to use them instead, except I think David will also, his was under 4 minutes, so he gets to say something too. So, yeah, so I forgot to mention that. And how's the Om session? Great. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn Chu, and this is Courtney Petrowski, and we're both 5th grade elementary school teachers in New York City. Today, we are going to talk about how teachers can bridge humane education with literacy without many additional resources.
One of our favorite reading units this year was social issue book clubs. Social issues are issues that occur in society that affect people, animals, and the environment. We believe it is important to teach social issues to students at such a young age because it provides accurate knowledge, breaks stereotypes, and helps students make connections to the real world.
To begin the unit, we started with whole class conversations about social issues. We used themed picture book read-alouds. Afterwards, we had students reflect. Students then selected issues they were interested in studying, and we created book clubs.
For those of you who don't know, a traditional book club is one that is based on reading levels and genre, such as fiction or mystery. Students work collaboratively to plan their pages, set reading in group goals, and discuss questions together. They usually meet 2 to 3 times a week and reflect on what they are thinking. A book club usually consists of 3 to 5 students reading the same books over a given period of time, usually about 3 weeks.
Social issues book clubs are a little different. Groups were formed around interest. In addition to fiction books, students analyzed nonfiction texts and videos to enhance their understanding. To focus on additional topics that were not covered, we brought in speakers and programs and took our students on various field trips.
To end the unit, students were asked to complete social action group projects that would show others about their compassion towards a certain issue. Casey Chan, one of our students, talked earlier about her project. The organization she made was her project. Some other examples of projects include multimedia presentations, poster presentations, pamphlets, skits, book and toy drives, and donation boxes.
Our 5th grade students were really touched by the Humane Education unit, and over there you can see some quotes from students and their reflections.
We feel that this type of learning is so important to the world. It brings students reading to life and asks them to think critically. It gives awareness and motivates students to become global agents of change. It teaches students that one person can make a difference.
To end with, we would like to share some resources to get started with. Here are some examples of student projects, and these are a lot of the poster projects.
As we mentioned before, we begin the unit by reading picture books. Some of the picture books are pictured up here, and about gender issues are Oliver Button is a Sissy and Allie's Basketball Dream. Some books about poverty are Fly Away Home and Tight Times.
Some fiction chapter books about human rights are Wonder, The Jacket, Pinballs, The Picture of Hollis Woods, Bud Not Buddy, Slant, also known as Harper, and Esperanza Rising.
Some books focusing on animal rights are Shiloh, The Missing Gator of Gumbo Limbo, Tiger Rising, and Black Beauty.
Some books focusing on environmental ethics are Hoot, Operation Redwood, There's an Owl in My Shower, and Flush.
As we mentioned before, you might want to use some nonfiction resources. Some places you can begin are Indie Kids, Time for Kids, Scholastic News, Kids Health website, and Upworthy.com.
You can also take students on free field trips to food pantries, local parks, senior centers, animal shelters, and the farmers market. In addition, we encourage you to invite speakers to the classroom, and one program that truly enhanced student learning was HEART.
The goal of our presentation was to inspire educators to bring humane education into their classrooms in an accessible way. However, we know that there may be some challenges, and here are some ways to approach those challenges. Teachers can seek outside assistance from donorschoose.org or apply for other mini grants. We also suggest utilizing the library in town or in your school, other classroom teachers who may have books they aren't using, or scholastic book orders. Of course, there's also the internet. And as we mentioned before, there are plenty of free field trips and speakers.
We hope we have inspired you to bring humane education into your classroom in some way. Remember, a small change can make a big difference.
Microphone check, 1, 2, okay. Cool. Hello, My name is Pierce Delahunt, Peace Mentor and Teacher of Social Emotional Learning. This is Marion McGillivray, experienced grant writer and developer of charter schools, multiple successful charter schools. We're both graduate students of Humane Education, and we together with faculty, students, and alum from the Institute for Humane Education are founding the first ever solutionary charter school right here in New York City. Solutionary School will be based on humane education and the premise that the world becomes what we teach. To illustrate, veteran scientists spent years attempting to figure out how to fold a particular enzyme. They eventually created a program instead that enabled legions of gamers to take on the puzzle, and the gamers solved the folding in 3 weeks. There are many stories like this of people from whom little is expected, and when they band together with a solutionary focus, solve a problem quickly and efficiently. What if we developed nations of solutionaries? What if our schools focused on solving the world's greatest challenges?
That is what we plan to do with Solutionary School. We have brought together a dynamic, experienced steering committee to start this Solutionary School in New York City. The faculty and students and alumni of the Institute for Humane Education, partnering with Valparaiso University, are developing a model that will be replicated throughout the country and in time worldwide. At the Institute for Humane Education, a group of like-minded educators came together based on their shared vision of empowering students to solve the challenges we're faced with today, and Solutionary School was born.
We are confronted with the most unsustainable agricultural practices ever used and the callous disregard of billions of animals for profit. We have systems of slavery that are abusing millions of humans. Pollution is spreading throughout our lands, seas, and the air we breathe. We are increasingly reliant on medications. Here in the USA, a higher percentage of our population is incarcerated than ever before, and every day we are facing weapons and violence that threaten what little peace remains. And we believe we can change that. We believe that we can create a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future for all life on Earth, and we think you do too. Peace demands introspection and sharing your knowledge. Peace requires explicit teaching and working on behalf of others. In other words, peace is work. And humane education takes action. Peace is something we make, and we must get our hands dirty with it. And we will do that together with our Solutionary School students.
This is the general outline of our process, the 4 stages of developing a charter school. And this is the stage that we are at right now, the first stage, the feasibility study. We have the first round of grants in place. We have our steering committee actively involved, and the Institute for Humane Education has been training humane educators for 17 years now. We're on the ground, talking to communities, identifying potential locations, developing curriculum, and recruiting team members. And that's where you all come in.
These are the current leaders of the steering committee. Everyone please stand up. Thank you. Most of us are wearing our organic fair trade solutionary tees. You can come find us afterward. This is going to be work. It is going to be challenging. Our planet, our children need us. We will work hard and have fun.
So if any of you in the audience would like to join us, please talk to anyone that has a Solutionary t-shirt on. And we do have a table out front there where you can sign up for anything that you're interested in, any particular passion that you may have. And we want you all to join us to teach the world to care. Thank you.
My daughter asked me not to wear this plaid jacket today. Please, Mom, she said. And I explained I had a purpose. I'm hoping that when I'm done, after hearing our student Clayton and after hearing what I have to say, that you try and find me. And I'm trying to make it easier. Who and what is Voyagers Community School? Why bother being here today to talk to you? We ask that question, why bother, a lot. It represents one of our core curiosities. Why bother dedicating ourselves to the monumental task of opening and sustaining a school that goes against the grain, against the norm? Why bother dedicating ourselves to this monumental task that requires constant explanation in contrast to the typical education that's offered in our free neighborhood schools? Why bother committing ourselves to delivering curriculum that changes on the whim of children, therefore requiring teacher researchers to be always uncertain and constantly listening and changing their curriculum maps? Why bother reaching out into the neighborhood, the town, our country, county, state, nation, and world to share our work and try to change the world? If you visit our website, you'll learn that we are considered one of the preeminent progressive day schools in the region. We teach traditional academics in non-traditional ways, creating a learning environment that enables children to excel academically and, more importantly, intellectually, while growing socially and emotionally. We are innovative, rigorous, and unique, with an authentic and serious approach to learning joyfully, through engaged, hands-on exploration in a warm and strong learning community. We, and please note, faculty, staff, students, families, and alumni, collectively define and maintain our culture and the spirit of Voyagers Community School. What does this all look like? What's the root of this idea, this place, this school? The answer is simple. Children, small in stature, less experienced in life, are equally powerful, resourceful, and competent in our school and in our worldview. And so, they were the first students out in hard-hit communities after Hurricane Sandy, cleaning out basements, cooking and serving food to rescue workers, and making toiletry kits and activity bags for adults and children in centers. And they were there long after everyone else, shoveling sand. They're directly responsible for the design and the process we rely upon for conflict resolution, peer mediation, and peace conferencing. Peace officers, always students, serve others, and all students together find solutions to differences and common ground in community. They, our 7th and 8th graders, are outdoors 12 hours each week examining their surroundings and learning about wildlife, flora, and fauna, and collectively and collegially working, slowing down, breathing, thinking, and imagining. They're exploring and wondering. They're asking real and sometimes deeply emotional questions. They're gathering evidence, and they're listening and loving each other. What could be more humane? If you are thinking, I want to bother, ask someone from Voyagers contingency here today, and I ask them all to stand. Teacher researchers, Katie Cook, Rich Knabb, Lucas Kelly, Kelly Slizek, Matt McDermott, Naveen Mahmood. Ask our students and filmmakers, Gabby Weinstein, 2017, Ian Darcy, 2016, Emily Reynolds, 2014, Clayton Reynolds, 2014. We're asking you, please bother us today and in the future at www.voyagerskids.com. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Rosanna Ng from Hong Kong, and I'm the Institute for Humane Education's Director of the Greater China Region. I'm really proud to be on this stage today, and I would like to dedicate this very special 4 minutes to a dog that I witnessed being tortured and slaughtered when I was only 6 years old. And since then, I have shut down and lived a meaningless life until I found Humane Education 4 years ago. So Humane Education truly gives me the knowledge, the tools, and the motivation to start living again. Thank you so. Thank you. Given my experience, you would not be surprised that I'm passionate about animal protection. And through Humane Education, I've extended my passion to include environmental issues and human rights issues. And everything is now connected. So in 2011, I started to bring humane education. That's not click. Can you help me? Which is? Okay. In 2011, I brought humane education to Hong Kong. I opened up a learning school, after-school English learning center called Fluffy Love Learning Club, and start to teach the concept of humane education to little children. And because the concept is so new, we got a lot of media attention. We were constantly being featured in magazines, and we were also featured in newspaper. But soon afterwards, I realized that I'm only reaching a small audience because it's a learning center, I only have children that I meet with after class, and I'm not happy enough with it. So in 2012, I changed my path and worked with ACTAsia Foundation to do teachers training workshop. This way, I can make a bigger impact. Sean. Melissa. ACTAsia Foundation, they are in China. They're doing a wonderful job. They rescue moon bears that are being used for bear bow farming. And it's a very cruel industry where bears are kept in a small cage like that for their entire life, some up to 30 years, and bios are extracted from them drop by drop in a very insanity condition. So when I say when 1.3 billion people sneeze, the world will feel the impact. So China's massive impact on animals and the environment includes the highest demand of rhino horns, the highest demand of shark's fin used for soup, highest demand of dolphin used for entertainment. We have chronic and dangerous level of pollution, and consumerism is on the rise. And we truly believe the solution to all these pressing issues is education. Together with ACTAsia, we created a Hong Kong Humane Education Coalition website. We have been delivering newsletters to teachers in schools in Hong Kong. We run teachers training workshops, and we already have teachers in Hong Kong taking Institute for Humane Education's online course, Teaching for a Positive Future. So in 2014, we're gonna deliver an even larger scale teachers training program in China. We're gonna start in Chengdu, Sichuan, which is in the center of China. ACTAsia is doing a wonderful job here in Guangdong. So China is a huge country, so a lot of work needs to be done. So we'll be training teachers, and I was already up in China talking to teachers about the design of the program and explaining to them humane education looks at the interconnection between animals, environment, and people. And they found it fascinating. They said, I wish there were people in China who could talk to me about these topics. And they wanted to learn more. They embraced the idea with open arms. So, like Animal Asia slogan goes, until the cruelty ends, we'll be doing our humane education work in China. If anybody who is interested in this wonderful project that we're doing, or want to save the poor bears, please come to see me at the IHE table afterwards. And I'm gonna cry. On behalf of the animals who cannot speak for themselves, who communicated with us but we don't listen, and the environment and the people in the Greater China region, I thank you for listening.
There it is. Oh, okay. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Neiman, and I'm an art teacher at Columbia High School, located just east of Albany, New York. It is with deliberate intention that I incorporate elements of humane education into my curriculum. Today, I'd like to share with you the story behind the creation of my unit plan entitled Silhouette Statements, Creating Positive Solutions to Global Problems. As a young college student, I was aware of the Holocaust documentary Paperclips. But without seeing it first, I wrote it off as being too upsetting and disturbing for a sensitive individual like myself. One afternoon, however, while looking for something to watch on TV while I ran on the treadmill, I came across a deeply moving story about a project that students in rural Whitwell, Tennessee were doing as a way to learn about diversity. Linda Hooper, school principal at the time, supported the students' and faculty's efforts as they struggled to grasp the enormity of the murder of 6 million Jewish people during the Holocaust. The students made meaning of the magnitude of the loss by collecting paperclips, the symbol used by the Norwegian people to protest Nazi persecution of their Jewish citizens. My running slowed to a jog and then a walk, and eventually I was so transfixed by the film that all I could do was stand on the treadmill and wipe away my tears. I remember thinking, one day I will be an art teacher who incorporates this powerful film into my curriculum. Sure enough, during my first year as an art teacher, I was asked to submit student artwork to an exhibition in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Here was my opportunity to share paperclips with my students, but first I needed to select an art medium and then help the students to see the connections between the civil rights movement and the Holocaust. Artist Kara Walker's silhouettes came to mind. I selected the art of silhouette making for its ability to make a bold visual statement. Certainly, other art mediums could be used to produce similar learning experiences. At first glance, Kara Walker's work is aesthetically pleasing. Moss cascades from the trees, the female figures are adorned in billowing dresses, yet upon further examination of the imagery, it becomes clear they are rife with the ugliness of slavery in the antebellum South. Although Kara Walker's work is set in an earlier era, her vision is a contemporary one that she expresses as follows. It's interesting that as soon as you start telling the story of racism, you start reliving the story. You keep creating a monster that swallows you. But as long as there's a Darfur, as long as there are people saying, hey, you don't belong here, to others, it only seems realistic to continue investigating the terrain of racism.
Kara Walker's words are reflected in a memorable scene from the film Freedom Writers, which I share with my students as a way to illustrate the connection between bullying and genocide. In the scene shown here, teacher Erin Gruelle relates the demeaning portrait of Jamal, created by a racist classmate, to the degrading propaganda cartoon portrayals of Jewish citizens just prior to the Holocaust. This portion of the film enabled my students to see how damaging it is to stereotype or make judgments about others. They could clearly see that hatred and disrespect stem from fear and a lack of understanding. It was now time to share paper clips with my students. I wanted them to see how the almost exclusively white and Christian Whitwell students, apparently none of whom have ever met a single Jewish person, investigated intolerance and prejudice, and from there, with profound compassion, created a unique, thoughtful, and positive response. Using paper clips as a model, my students investigated a global problem of their choice and symbolically represented a just, compassionate, and nonviolent response of their own to issues such as human rights, animal rights, and sustainability. Throughout the creative process, students were free to form their own metaphors while they generated authentic works of art. It was within the process of creating meaningful, personalized projects that art was used as a way of learning and not just something to be learned. The making of this unit serves to remind us that while learning about something we fear may be overwhelming or beyond our ability to personally create change, it is the only way to effectively make a positive impact on our world. Seeking the truth and learning to think critically is empowering and is the crux of the humane education movement, and I can't think of anything more urgently needed in our classrooms at this time.
Just a quick announcement. Unfortunately, Nina Rosa's video from Brazil, Humane Education in Brazil, the link isn't working. We will post it on the website and an announcement that will come out after the conference. Apologies for that.
Get your popcorn. Thanks again to the Pollination Project and for the Institute for Humane Education for helping with that really stunning event that took place just last April. Of course, now we need you to be involved. If you are parents of high school kids or know high school kids or have a high school down the street from you, we need your help to get some teams as we start to take this nationally. We're working on a nice kit for teachers and for students, and we're hoping to make that really educational for them. You know, as I met with these students, kind of during the event, I sat down and chatted with them. They were really excited that for once they were asked to do something practical, to help the world. I sat with one girl and she told me that she had kind of resigned herself, that she was just going to live in a world full of crap. That's what she said. And it's too bad that kids feel like they have to live in a world that's crappy. I think Zoe, you mentioned that this morning. And yet, this project, she said, gave her hope that she and others could solve problems. And she was thrilled. So thank you very much.
Has two parallel parts. The first part is the cafeteria ranger training. We train students, kindergartners through 5th graders, and even special needs students to own the waste sorting system in the cafeteria. They don't need a teacher and they don't need staff. They do it all on their own. They each get a badge, they have their jobs. They learn not only the how, but the why it is so important for us to reduce our cafeteria waste and how that connects to climate change.
Special needs students actually get the opportunity to be special in a very positive way. They take pride in what they do, and I love it, I love it. So it gives everybody an opportunity to shine.
Parallel to our ranger training, we have what's called Make Change Messaging. It's an interdisciplinary workshop. The idea is that students can design their own alternative messaging campaign to share the message of why this is so important with the entire school community.
The kids learn so much about caring for the environment and how they can make a change within their environment, and they can be agents of change and take a stand. They really became engaged when building the puppets, the polar bear, to share their message of taking care of the earth to the larger school community.
First reduce, then reuse, then recycle. First reduce, then reuse, then recycle. Making food scraps, we're making compost, and if we're kids, do yourself. Basketball shades will no longer be used in New York City.
And our oceans are be cleaner.
The cafeteria culture program, it is a blessing. I mean, it really enhances what a teacher does. Curriculum, getting the kids to actually do visual arts, having them redo research, and it really is aligned with the Common Core standards that we have right now, which is fantastic.
Like this.
Student learning is more memorable, motivating, and engaging when students are given real-world challenges to solve that are relevant to their lives. When a grade 6 student in Canberra was given a sustainability challenge around food, she said, "I'm starting to imagine things to make the world a better place." I mean, isn't that what education is about? Making the world better? Knowledge itself is constantly growing and it's evolving. Students need the skills, the behaviors, and the general capabilities that cross discipline content and develop their confidence in a complex, information, globalized world. That's from the Australian curriculum. And it's true, we don't know what the world will become. What we can focus on is in supporting the empathy, the creative and critical thinking skills young people need to build their thriving, sustainable future. My partner Nicholas and I founded Ismotion in 2010 to develop innovative solutions in the education and media sectors. Although they might seem a little bit different, my background in education psychology, building sustainable programs to improve quality of life with young people in Canada, Guatemala, the Caribbean, India, and Australia, has a common language and purpose to Nick's in management consulting and business improvement through behavior change. Essentially, the commonality is a solution-focused perspective we now employ in all our company projects to protect, connect, and uplift people, animals, and planet. In 2012, we cycled around the world with the World by Cycle project and facilitated the first in the To Learn adventure series, Ride to Learn. In every continent, exploring the backstory involved in the supply chain of t-shirts, shoes, and bicycles. Ride to Learn enables students to engage with a global network of farmers, designers, artisans, and factory workers who are involved in the production of these everyday items. Young people are intimately familiar with what they wear on their backs and feet, which makes these items an accessible and personal point of inquiry into the environmental and social impacts of production. From here, students can brainstorm solutions to global challenges such as resource depletion and the ethical treatment of people and animals. For example, the Primary Industries Foundation in Australia did a survey in 2012 and found 3/4 of students of grade 6 students thought that their cotton items came from animals, not plants. See, when we cycled through West Africa, we learned about how cotton is farmed and the environmental implications of the world's thirstiest crop. A staggering 2,200 liters are required to produce one t-shirt. We visited a farm practicing innovative approaches to conserve water and that relied on rain for growth. While cycling across Tasmania and Australia, we visited thought-leading farms who have developed some solutions to mulesing and fly strike in sheep husbandry. Ride to Learn is an ongoing program. The adventure learning component means we provide real-time interaction for classrooms via digital conferencing and school visits. Students can interact with us on the journey or with young people from around the world engaged in the journey with us. East Asia, North and South America are to come. We started developing Sail to Learn with the Top to Top Climate Expedition. This interactive learning journey will explore ocean plastics and the impacts to marine life and the food chain, as well as the radiation in the Pacific caused by Fukushima, exploring the interconnectedness of all things. Our newest educational initiative involves capturing the sustainability challenge from a business, translating it into a teaching and learning resource, and facilitating that directly in schools or via our digital networks. This is an exciting new initiative, and businesses and schools are already putting their hand up, ready to be involved. Contact us to learn how you or your school can be involved with us too.
Could we have a round of applause for all of our amazing lightning presenters?